So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here once again with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq. He has a shirt on this segment. Last time he was showing us his eeny, teeny, weeny muscles. But nevertheless, we are live. I should say we are live. Earlier, we were not live. It was our podcast that we like to do amongst ourselves so we can argue. As y'all can see, it got kind of heated. But we are here today live.
No, she got heated. I don't get heated. I'm cool under pressure.
No, he don't get heated. He gets stupid. But anyway, so today again we're live and we're gonna start. We're gonna start off talking about the House Republicans officially endorsing an impeachment inquiry against Biden. Of course, I'm gonna show y'all a video as to their reasons to doing it. Of course, I think we kind of know why they're really doing it, but we're gonna have a conversation about that. Nevertheless, hello, CG Thunder and Shama Shawan. How are you doing? And of course, I'm sure y'all know how we do. We venture off into everything else. So I just think I should say that off the top because sometimes people come in here and say, "Well, what are we talking about? Oh, I thought we was talking about this." It's like, well, the show is about an hour and a half, 2 hours, so we probably not gonna talk about the same thing the whole way through. So I just want to say that, of course, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to help us be even better of a people. Iron Will Maureen, how you doing? You just got to the citizenship part, Black America. Okay, I that's the only thing I hate about doing the live show so soon after that because you guys don't really get to finish watching. But yeah, it got pretty heated. Hello, Easy. So Donovan, what say you before we get started?
Welcome, everybody. Once again, glad to be doing this back again from our trip. It seems like we haven't done this in a long time, even though we were only gone a week. But welcome to the show. Do us a favor. Hit the like button on the way in. Please like, share, and subscribe on your platforms. That helps get the message out a little bit more so. If you look at the bottom here, we've got a banner that is scrolling constantly across the way there. And if you feel like you want to donate to help get the message out, because it does take time, effort to make videos, that would help us significantly. And also, please, if you want to follow Demetra, not only join this page, but go ahead and check out the African Diaspora News channel as well. She's on that. And also, if you want to click in Brother Philip Scott, his page as well, which is they're all kind of connected in some way to do that. And you can get all kinds of great information of what's going on in Africa, what's going on in the nation, what's going on within our communities. I think that's a great way to do it. That's how I keep up to date on a lot of stuff. But this subject is political. So I know a lot of people don't want to be involved in politics. A lot of y'all don't want to be involved in politics because you voted for the Democratic Party and now you're up in arms because they're sending migrants and taking resources out of your community to house migrants, even though Black people need resources. And, you vote for the Democratic Party who doesn't want to give you reparations, but yet your hand is out for reparations, even though you vote against your own interests. But that's okay. Like I said, everybody's got to learn one way or the other. So this is going to be a great topic. Real quick, before we get into this topic, how many of you guys saw Joe Biden in a question and answer segment in Vietnam, where the man practically went off kilter and was like, huh? What did you say? He was saying stuff out of the 1950s and almost went to sleep. And this is the man, if you're looking at the polls right now, they say that if it was a election today, 50-50 against Donald Trump. If Donald Trump is the nominee, it's 50-50. This is the man that you guys want to run against Trump. Anybody else could beat Trump, anybody else. But you're going to put a man that barely beat Trump last time to run again for an election at his age that isn't cognitively there. So something to think about.
Jan Michael, how you doing? We were talking about the House Republicans making a move to get impeachment started against Joe Biden. I'm gonna put up a video so y'all can see it. Black America, he says, you see the brick girl was lying, right? No, I haven't seen that yet. I've not seen that. And Angela, how you doing? Ashley, what's going on with you. Okay, so I'm gonna put this video up really quick so y'all can see and hear the reasons as to why the House Republicans say that they are making a move to get it started against Joe Biden in regards to impeachment. So let's see, is this it? Okay, this is it. Here we go.
Have uncovered serious and credible allegations into President Biden's conduct. Taken together, these allegations paint a picture of a culture of corruption. Now, here's what we know so far. Through our investigations, we have found that President Biden did lie to the American people about his own knowledge of his family's foreign business dealings. Eyewitnesses have testified that the president joined on multiple phone calls and had multiple interactions. Dinners resulted in cars and millions of dollars into his son's and his son's business partners. These are allegations of abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption, and they warrant further investigation by the House of Representatives. That's why today I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. This logical next step will give our committees the full power to gather all the facts and answers for the American public. That's exactly what we want to know, the answers.
Okay, so let me remove that. Of course, that is Kevin McCarthy. He is the Speaker of the House representing the Republicans. So as he said, the Republicans are making a move to start an inquiry into the dealings of Joe Biden and some of the things that they listed. Of course, you guys know Hunter Biden, which is his son, has been in the news a lot due to a lot of chicanery, financial malfeasance, if you will. And so some of the things that he listed is that Joe Biden lied to the American people about his family's foreign business dealings. He says that he has been on a copious amount of phone calls because originally Joe Biden's like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what Hunter's doing. He was basically saying I have no knowledge of what's going on at all. But he, being Kevin McCarthy, is saying, well, that's not true, that they have enough intel and witnesses and things like that to say that Joe Biden definitely is complicit. Also saying that he has been at dinners discussing, money and things like that, along with Hunter Biden, and that it has netted them cars and millions of dollars. And so he's also saying, as I said, too, that Joe Biden did have knowledge of what his son was doing. Then he says, we are basically going on a fact-finding mission to learn more, but they have started with the inquiry, which means, again, they're going to look into it, find some facts, in hopes of impeaching Joe Biden. Now, of course, we know that when a president is impeached, especially if they're sitting president, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get out of the seat or, whatever the case is, unless they do something like Nixon, who, before the impeachment happened, he was like, yeah, I'm out of here, So that doesn't really mean much in the larger scheme of things. But of course, we know that there's some underlying things going on here. Of course, you guys know that Trump is facing a whole lot of, he's been indicted a bunch and charges and all kind of stuff from here to there to everywhere. And so the Republicans are upset about it. They try to make a move against the DOJ, basically saying that they are biased against that of Donald Trump and that it's Biden's DOJ. That was an epic fail. There was nothing done there. They've tried to make a move against a prosecutor there in Atlanta. Was it Fannie Willis or whatever? That was to no avail, and a couple other ones. And so I think this is just another last-ditch effort, if you will, to hold Biden accountable. It's almost like a tit-for-tat thing. Well, you're going after Trump. Your hands aren't clean either, is what they're saying. So I think that's what we got going on. But who else came on here before I give it to Donovan? Let's see here. Suivan, man, how you doing? Sean 24, what's going on with you? Ooh, okay. I'm gonna read some of your comments. And Damon, how are you? King of Sorrows. And Tanya. All right. Donovan.
Well. How long have we been telling people about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party? There is no difference. They have a cabal about power. It's one group. It doesn't matter who's in charge. The reason why they came after Trump, if you really break it down to its core value, and a lot of you guys are smart enough. I'm in the chats. You guys know what's going on. The reason why they're breaking down on Trump is the mere fact that he went against his own kind. So, like, let's say the HBCU said, "Oh well, hey, he was like, why do you got to come up here every 10 years? I'll give you the money, every year. Here you go. You got to come up here every year. Come up here every 10 years. Here's your money." Trump went against the power establishment and the rich establishment, and they're making an example out of him. That is the only reason they're coming at Trump the way that they are, because anybody else that comes up after Trump, this is the example that they're trying to show. Let the black people make a little bit of money. Let the Indians make a little bit of money. Let the average American make a little money, which Trump was doing. It's a problem for the rich establishment, right? Biden gets into office. He doesn't want to forgive student debt. He doesn't want to do these things because he's beheld to the bankers and all this other stuff. Cash App, $600. You got to report to the IRS now. Trump wasn't on to that. He's like, go ahead and make your little money. It's okay. It's a little money. It's no big deal. He went against the establishment, and so now they're making an example out of him. Now we're looking at these people going tit for tat, which is a distraction, number one. But in the end, who actually wins? The power establishment still wins. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. The only problem is us as Black people, we suffer the most suffering because of the Democratic policies. And that's the problem. That's what we say. Well, you're talking about the Republicans or this, that. No, that ain't what we're saying. These are the same party. The thing is, we suffer more under Democratic policy. That's what we're saying. And we address the Democratic Party because we vote 96% overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. When we start voting 50, 60% for the Republican Party, I'll go harder on the Republicans. But right now, the Republicans isn't my problem. But this is what they're going to do. They're going to scare you up. And I was putting in the chat just now. Look at Joe Biden. This man is not cognitively conscious right now. Do you actually think the presidency in itself, that he's controlling everything? There's somebody controlling this, guys. He walks around like a zombie. So, to the topic at hand, we've told you guys there's been numerous conversations that the FBI had, and a lot of the Justice Department has had with Joe Biden actually on the tape. When initial allegations came out against his son, they have a recording of Joe Biden saying, when they were updating him on what was going on, he was talking to his son and saying, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. We're going to do it. Now, how many of you guys out there think actually you could be in government for 50 plus years and not get your beak wet? 50 years and you don't have connections and money coming in from over here and over there? Maxine Waters lives in Pacific Palisades, or is it the other place where all the rich people were next to Dr. Dre? But yet the law says you're supposed to live in the district that you represent. So what they do is they find loopholes and say, well, I have a residency there, but I don't have to live there. Does that make any sense to us as American people while you're living in luxury? And we say nothing about our Black leaders that have millions and billions of dollars. Mr. Clyburn has gone silent since Nancy Pelosi has left the speakership. It's a playbook. They enrich their families and they enrich themselves. And then you look at their neighborhoods that they represent, looks like crap. Show me a Democratic enclave that looks like Beverly Hills. Show me where. Show me a Democratic enclave that is well kept and upkept by a representative that looks like us. But yet we keep putting these people back to Congress. We keep reelecting them. It is a distraction. What they're doing here, tit for tat. I firmly believe that this man he's 80 years old. What are you going to do? What are you going to do at this point? What are you going to do? Put him in jail? He's 80 years old. They know this stuff. They're going to play this political stuff. You're going to get all hyped up. Oh, yeah, they're coming after us. It's to get you guys to just get excited to vote for the Democratic Party. But what are you voting for? What are you voting for? This is the worst economy since Trump. Everything is going up. Nobody's got any money. It's sad. And I hope you guys don't fall for this again. I mean, you probably are, not our family here, but most people probably are, because you've got these old civil rights handkerchief head people talking about, you got to get out there and knock on doors and, like we did in the 60s. Well, Demetra Kay's show reaches 10, 40, thousands of people just in a broadcast. Why would I go out there and knock on doors when the technology says I don't have to do that to influence people? Think about it.
Yes, indeed. And Thunder, you say, question, is it wrong for me to be more concerned about the nation versus party politics? We need a strong head of state, and he is in no condition to do so. And the vice president, I have my doubts about her abilities. No, it is not wrong for you to be concerned about that. Because as Donovan just said, Joe Biden is old, and maybe he is right. He's 80. He'll be 86 by the end of his second term. Yes, and he was in Vietnam. And he had just left the G20 summit, and so it was kind of weird. He was saying he was making a reference to a John Wayne movie, and he was talking about John Wayne and Indians, and he says, and not like the Indians that I just met, but he says, and there's a term, the lion dog.
Yeah, it's a term from the 1950s.
Yeah, something, and he was saying that basically, I guess he was trying to say that the Indians and the reservation over here don't trust the soldiers. It was just all over the place, right? And then he kind of was stuck at the podium, I guess he's kind of looking at his notes, and he goes, well, I just take orders. I'm just taking orders. And then I guess some other reporter who wasn't on the list, which is very telling as well, tried to ask a question. He says, you're not on the list. I have my 5 reporters here, whatever, that I'm supposed to be speaking to. And so my thing is this. He says, and we know it's not a secret. It's not a secret that all presidents take orders. Like, they're not really up there themselves, and except for Trump. I think, like Donovan said, Trump got off of the talking points. It's like, I got it from here. He kind of went rogue. But most presidents have a key in their back, if you will. But the other thing is, we as American people should be very concerned that whoever these people are that are behind Joe Biden, want to put him up as the face of the country, even though cognitively something is aloof with him, right? Sometimes he's speaking to people who aren't there. Recently at a military function, something, he walks off the stage as the guy he was supposed to be honoring was up there, and he just walks off, and even his people are like, no, like, go back. What are you doing? Type of thing. So, and I don't want to be mean, because one day we will all age, and I don't know, I hope I never get to that point. But, to me, I think it's unfair to have him in that position where he doesn't know what he's talking about sometimes. A lot of times he's falling all over the place. It's just a lot. And then my other admonishment is for the people who will vote for him. Why would you vote for him? Because I know, I get it. Anybody's better than Trump, right? That's the reasoning. That's the logic. Or anybody's better than Trump. It's like, are you serious? Anybody is better than Trump? Even somebody who is not coherent, right? And let's go back to why we're really here in regards to the House Republicans saying that we're starting the process to, think about impeaching him. That those of y'all, and I saw somebody named Anthony on here, says vote blue no matter who. Hey, Kimmy, and whoever else came on here, I want to acknowledge y'all just a minute. Y'all say vote blue no matter who, but does any of the stuff that has been said about Joe Biden and his chicanery in regards to the money, does any of that concern y'all? Because you can't, if it doesn't, you're disingenuous to hold Trump's feet to the fire. And I'm not saying his feet shouldn't be held to the fire. I mean, there's a guy, one of the leaders of the Proud Boys, he just got sent up the river, 22 years. Now he's a Black Latino, and he got the most harshest sentence out of everybody on the January 6th, insurrection. He got the harshest penalty So I'm not saying that Trump shouldn't be held accountable for something, but in that same vein, you're saying that Trump should be held accountable and we're not going to even talk about Biden. He's not going to get an honorable mention. You don't care about his misdealings with money in other countries and things like that. Like none of that matters to you. So to me, and I see Black America, you said that don't concern you. And I get where you're going with that. But I'm saying for the people who are saying, too, you got to vote blue no matter who and all this other stuff. Even if there's somebody who is, I don't want to be mean, but this kind of, vegetative almost, you'd rather have that out there and than somebody who, and even if it ain't Trump, somebody else, because as Donovan said, it is actually over 50% of American voters, not just Democrats or Republicans, American voters say, Joe Biden ain't it. And also Kamala Harris, she did an interview and she was asked, well, Joe Biden is up there. He's a lot of people saying he's too old. And she says, well, I don't think he's too old. I spent a lot of time with Joe Biden and he's doing just fine. And so he says, the interviewer, well, in case he doesn't get to finish his second term, are you prepared for the job? And she goes, well, as with every vice president, we know when we sign up that we must be ready to step in the place of. So she didn't really say yes, but she kind of did. But my thing is this too, and I'm not going to tell y'all what to think, but think about it. Because this other thing, we got to stop going with the sound bites. Oh, Kamala, she was at the 50th anniversary of hip hop and she was dancing and all that. We got to get past that and really, really sit and think and say, what has Kamala shown me that shows that she is willing and able to be the president of the United States? Like what? What has she done to say that she's ready for the job? Now, I want to say this. Dan Quayle wasn't ready for the job either. The man misspelled potato and a whole lot of other stuff going on. You know what I mean? But these are just things we should really think about.
And the funny thing about Kamala Harris, and it just bothers the hell out of me that we're such an emotional people, and the Democratic and the Republican Party know that. They just play on our heartstrings when it comes to history. Just all you got to do is say Martin Luther King, some kind of female thing, and we just get emotional. We want to be either defensive or offensive, or we just get excited. Oh, it's hip hop, whatever. But here's the thing. It just chaps my hide. It just chaps my hide. We know that this man, let's just go recent. I'm not even going to go back to anything Obama. No, let's just go recent, current administration right now. It was Black people that saved Joe Biden's presidency. Now, don't get me wrong. If Joe Biden in the next couple of months says, I'm giving every Black person $50,000 or does something of that nature in regards specifically for Black people, go to hell on and vote for him. You know what I mean? Go to hell on and vote for him. But we saved I didn't, you guys did. Black people saved his candidacy to put him in the White House, and he has yet to do anything. Now, where are all those people that were screaming and hollering, give him time? That's what I'm trying to figure out, Demetra. I can't find any of those people that were like, he just got in the office. So don't worry, we're going to get ours. We just got to be patient. It's been 3 years in office. We haven't got anything. And then you guys got to remember, because we have such a short memory, Kamala Harris tanked her candidacy. She imploded because she was exposed, especially by the Black media. We exposed her. And she's talking about she's ready for the job. Nobody wants her for the job. Remember, she was selected. Nobody voted for Kamala to be vice president. She was selected and put there. And even as a Black woman in the vice presidency, she does not advocate for anything in regards to Black people. When those Haitians that were at the border of Texas that were sent back in planes, the next day, Kamala Harris was silent. Kamala Harris and the CDC were silent. George Floyd got murdered. Kamala Harris was silent. But let there be an Asian crime bill or whatever, she's on board for that. She's all in the picture, smiling and cheesing. They just had a problem over there in Hawaii with the mass fires. She has something to say about that. But let one of you guys get murdered in the streets or your rights be violated. She never has anything to say. So never forget, nobody wanted Kamala Harris. She doesn't have the credentials to be there. If thoughting is a credential to be in the White House, then she's qualified.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Kamala, and I don't want to say, she's not a smart woman. I think it's not a secret, though, that she's kind of benefited, from using some other things to get to where she is. Willie Brown actually was the one that, said, hey, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't be where she is. So she needs to thank me. So, but I don't want to begrudge her. I don't want to begrudge her of all of her, intelligence. She's a smart lady, just maybe not to run the world, but or the United States anyway. And
yes, she's very good at incarcerating Black men and single mothers. She's very good at doing that in California.
Thunder say the world is seeing this, and the nation is looking weak. This nation rather is looking weak and concerned that America's enemies will get emboldened and try to chin check us. Well, I saw that you mentioned it, but they're already doing that via BRICS. That their goal is partially to destabilize the dollar. So, and that's starting to happen. Renz G, how you doing? And M, how you doing? It says there's nothing wrong with being a people who are sensitive. It's not our fault that we live amongst cannibals. However, we do need to practice decorum at the appropriate times. Absolutely. All right, so let me see. Aya is our righteousness. Aya, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says the Americas is our land. Got you. Story time. How you doing? It says, hell no, we don't want her. And one thou, how you doing? You say, he's done everything for every group except Black people. He told Black people that he'd revoke their Blackness if they voted for Trump, pretty much, right? He says, you ain't Black if you don't vote for me. You crazy, Black America. Damon says BRICS is a good thing. It's telling you to get your house in order. Babylon is on life support. Yes, indeed it is. And Aya, you say, we, the American Indians, not Blacks. Okay. M, you say Kamami was installed by Hillary. Damn, y'all got all kind of names for these people. Hillary Clinton. Angela says Kamala is not Black or even part Black. Ashley says, get them out of office now. And how you doing, Mama Deb? And let's see here. Gwen, how you doing? It says, knock on doors and might get shot. No can do, baby boomers. Kisha, how you doing? He says, right. And it's being reported that Kamala Harris is saying that she is ready to run the country. Yeah, she tried to tap dance around it by saying, well, most all vice presidents, we know what we're signing up for in case something happens. Well, never mind. Joe Biden is fine. He's not going anywhere. But, we're all prepared to do the job if we have to. And it's like, Kamala, they send you out to shake your booty at 50th, hip hop anniversary celebrations. And, they tried it, though, during the beginning of the presidency. They tried to send her out there and have her, put on a big old hat to get out there and talk to people about this, that, the southern border and all that other stuff. But she choked when I think it was Lester Holt. I think it was that asked her because at the time she hadn't been to the southern border. Says, why haven't you visited the southern border? She says, well, I haven't visited any other border either, but that doesn't mean I'm not going. It's like, lady, if you don't know the answer, just say that. Just say, I wasn't going. We was pretending, but then you asked the question and I don't really know how to answer that. So Kamala, she's doing her job, and that's to get Black people on board and excited. Roland Martin, he was there at the celebration too, this hip hop thing, and he was booed up in a picture with Kamala Harris. And so that's what her job is to keep the Negroes from fleeing the plantation, if you will. Let's see here. Yes, if y'all could hit the like button. Thank you, Gwen. Sudie Brand says she knows it's a matter of time. She can't even do her job as vice president. Yeah, and then if you really think about it, what is truly the job of a vice president? I mean, I don't know if we've heard as much from Dick Cheney, Pence, or Gore, or any of them like we do from Kamala. I don't know. Maybe I just was not in tune as I am now. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like, I mean, the things like we would hear about them, it was kind of like their own little initiative type of things. You know what I mean? Or Dick Cheney, shooting somebody on a hunting range and all that. Uh, but yeah, I think they tried to have her do more, and they was like, nah, she ain't ready. She ain't ready. So let's see here. Black America says Vice President doesn't. There you go. I should have read your comment. They don't really do. I mean, they do something, but it's not something. You know what I mean? Like they're not typically out there meeting with heads of states and things like that. I think even one time didn't they send Kamala to meet with somebody, and they was like, "Where's Joe?" or something. So it's not typical. And hello, Pamela, how you doing? And Black America says nothing is the job for VP. Yeah, they're basically plan B. If you think about it, Vice President is plan B in case something happens to the president. Y'all know when people ran all around the country. Well, when I say people, y'all know it's the backbone of the Democratic Party. The one time when Joe Biden went under for surgery, and it was like, oh, for what was it? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever it was. He was under. Kamala was the president for 20 minutes. Like, how so? Because Joe Biden was under anesthesia and he couldn't act as president. It's like, is that what we're doing? Are we reaching? We're reaching. Okay, so y'all, okay. So Kamala was president for a whole 20 minutes by default.
So now she's qualified. Now she's absolutely qualified.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, if that's what you want to go with, then cool, I'm with it. But so nevertheless, the House Republicans, they own the House right now. They're like, all right, since you want to dig up in Trump's background and y'all want to try to tie him up, y'all know Fani there in the DA there in Atlanta, she's trying to rush the trial for October. And I was like, come on now, could you make this any more obvious? So you're trying to rush the trial for October, which most experts are like, nah, that's not going to happen. You like, this is not, you got 19 people that you're trying to send up the river. And and the other thing is this is to me with me where it's stupid. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but I know common sense. If I was Fani's higher ups or whoever, I'd be like, listen, I understand you want to sock it to Trump, but do you really want to take a chance of, let's say we do find him and the other people guilty, and him being able to appeal because it was a rush trial, and during a rush trial, you're probably not going to do due diligence and all of that. You're going to maybe leave some holes for him to come back to appeal and win. So why don't we just take our time? But we know why, because the election and all that, and Trump is whooping everybody in the polls. He just is, the hypothetical polls. So let's rush a conviction so that we can tie his hands, right? So that's what this is about. But nevertheless, it's a ploy to get Biden in trouble. And I mean, listen, I don't cut for the guy or nothing, but I think fair is fair. I think that if Biden is doing some stuff he ain't supposed to be doing, and he has done some stuff he's supposed to be doing, I think the real question should be, why is he special? Why doesn't he get the answer for that?
I mean, if you really wanted to get black votes, repeal that 1995 crime bill. Why don't you go ahead and do that? But the really sad thing is, if you look at this is a rich man's civil war against each other to get, like I said, at the end of the day, black people aren't going to benefit from whoever's sitting in that seat. At the end of the day, it won't matter. It won't matter at this point. But when are we going to stop voting for our own oppression? I mean, what is it going to take for us to say, you know what? We got to get out here and fend for ourselves. Both of these parties ain't about crap. The black people that we elect to go there, they ain't about crap. When are we going to say, you know what? We're just out here by ourselves. How do people that got emancipated from slavery basically had nothing but the shirts and the clothing on their back could go bind together and build cities that outdid any city in America during that time? It was so successful that the white people got jealous and had to go burn that and bomb those cities out. I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, what's it going to take for us to just say, enough's enough?
Absolutely. And you say, maybe we should not call ourselves black. The Americas is our land. We are not from the Africa America's is our homelands from ancient times. Yeah, that's a whole conversation for another day. And
Yeah,
Lord,
I mean, it's a theory, but when I say I'm black, I say it as an adjective. It's just like when you say a white man, right? When people say they're white, what do they say? Well, I'm of German and such and such descent. I'm from France or I'm from Britain, right? But they're all white. So I don't care what kind of black you're from. If your skin is like mine and your skin is like Demetra, the adjective to describe you, if let's say Demetra robbed a liquor store and they said, well, what did the person look like? She's a Indian, whatever. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say she's a black woman, 5'6", fine as hell, big booty. Done.
yeah, I mean, that's why I was like, oh Lord, I don't have the energy for that conversation. But I'm glad that you summed it up rather nicely. I call myself black. I don't have a problem with that. And there's a lot of us that did not originate in America, and there's some that did originate in America. I mean, so both things can be true. I would say that. And Kimmy says, Demetra, can you do a chat poll asking Damon's question? So let me see. That was about the Democrat. I mean, right here. How many in the chat think Trump will get back in? Y'all want to say if you think he'll get back in, say yes. If not, no. And because that can be kind of telling as well. I typically think that he will get back in. I really do. And enraged, your name cracked me up every time. Enraged Pinky, enraged Pinky Toe. I'm laughing because, man, if you ain't never stubbed your pinky toe on something, or your shoe ain't been too tight at one point in time, you will never know what it's like to have an enraged pinky toe. You say, we haven't given the Republicans a chance since the Democrats gave us welfare and the ghetto. That's when we switched parties. You're absolutely right. And when they did it was under FDR, that's when we started to switch, because that's when right after the Great Depression, things were bad for everybody, but it was terribly worse for Black people. So during his New Deal, his wife actually made him include Black people, because FDR didn't want to meet with Black people. He's like, they're not coming to the White House. And she was like, oh, darling, you must have them for lunch. And you got to, because he's facing an uphill battle. So she was like, you got to include the Negroes in the New Deal and all that, which is how we got in there, and how we started to switch, and how we came up with that narrative. Oh, the Democrats are for the people, therefore they're the party of Black people. He begrudgingly did that because he needed us, as they've been needing us ever since then, to win the White House. So that's how that happened. So absolutely.
Can I ask you a question? Why isn't it that the Democratic Party has not thrown up a challenger or challengers to vie for the presidential nomination in the Democratic Party? Have you guys noticed that? The Democrats are all in on this old decrepit man to beat whoever the nominee is going to be. And let's say Trump doesn't make it, right? He's indicted, blah, blah, blah. Out of 92 indictments, I believe he's gonna get a few of them. Majority of them, it's not going to matter. If Trump doesn't make it, and let's say a Chris Christie runs against Biden, Biden loses. Anybody else, Biden will lose. If he goes up against Trump, he will lose. Why isn't the Democratic Party giving us options, or are they telling us this is who you guys are going to deal with it and suck rock?
I think it has a lot to do with, more than anything, I could be wrong. It's the incumbent is rarely challenged, right? It's rare. This is actually rare that Biden, because there's some people challenging Biden. They maybe not be running as a Democrat, but they're running independently, like your Cornel West and your RFK Juniors, and Marianne Williamson. Those type, they're all in, but it's almost rare that the incumbent has a challenger. But because Joe Biden is you got a lot going on, people's like, yeah, it's time. But to your other point, why don't the Democratic establishment put up somebody else? It's a good question. I just don't think they want to rock the boat with what they already got going on. Plus, they don't want to concede that. Because you see, if you say as the DNC, you know what, it's time for us to put up somebody else, then you also have to admit that the Democrats have been effing up, right? That Biden and the Democrats have been effing up. That people aren't happy, right? And it's not just Black people because of reparations that aren't happy. It's people with the student loans, and it's giving all that money away to other countries, and they're bringing the migrants in. It's a menagerie of things. And so for them to replace Joe Biden, they also have to say, well, he did all that under our watch. So it's like, we're not going to admit guilt. We're going to pretend that, Biden is okay, even though he's not. We're going to put a key in his back and tell him what to say and all that other stuff, and just pretend like everything's okay. So I think that's why they haven't done it, just for a couple of reasons. So I'm looking at you guys' responses. I see a lot of yeses to the question that Damon had. And Sudie Bonnie says, if he doesn't, he surely will give Biden a run for his money. Yeah, I just think that it's wearing off that with the Democrats' scare tactics. Oh, Trump is the boogeyman. You don't need him at all. Is he a great guy? No, he's not. You know what I'm saying? But is he worse than Biden? See, Trump is doing things out loud, right? But Biden is doing them quietly. But you have to logically ask the question, whether it's being done out loud or quietly, are the things still being done? The question is, an answer is yes. So then you have to say, okay, if these are my two options, because they're going to go in with that whole lesser two evil, or two evil things. If I have to go for one or the other, then I have to weigh the things that they have done and then ask myself, who has done the most damage to me personally and to the United States? And if you cannot do some deductive reasoning, then why are you going into the voting booth to vote if you can't even do that?
Right. Tanya says this on the thing, and I have to agree with her statements. And she made a simple statement. Trump ain't doing things to us. If you really think about it, during the Trump administration, what did Trump do to Black people in a negative way? He started the First Step Act, which was a positive thing to get Black people out of jail. Remember the lady that sold crack and she was in there forever, and he got her out, Black lady, and all this other stuff. He did a lot of stuff in regards to Black people, in regards to getting us representation. Remember, he had the pastors up there, even though that's not really a great thing. But he was willing to meet with everybody. Kanye got people out of jail, that rapper and all this other stuff. He didn't care. He did not care. But what did he do to us on a negative aspect during his administration? It was only 4 years. If you really think about it, nothing. Zero.
Yeah. And I'm going to answer this. Thunder, you say question. I think he definitely has a good chance of getting back in. But if he doesn't, his supporters may revolt. If he does, the Biden supporters may revolt. To me, it's a lose-lose situation. What say you? I think it's that's a good possibility that for sure on the Republican side or Trump side, because all Republicans don't really rock with Trump like that. But on Trump's camp, the supporters that he has, yeah, I think there's definitely could be something, because they've shown us time before, ain't we about that life? You know what I mean? So anything is possible. They are really diehard for Trump. As far as the Democrats for Biden, I think there'll be a lot of crying and weeping and, oh my God, it's horrible. But I don't know if they'll necessarily do that. But I want to address Donovan when you say, all the things that Trump has done. And the other thing too, you also got to consider is when Trump wasn't president, you had your Jesse Jacksons, your Al Sharptons, your Hillary Clintons, everybody. They was all at parties with him. They was at Lolita Island with him. They was everywhere with Trump, rappers that had him all up in, his songs and sometimes in the videos. So Trump was that dude, right? And the other thing too is this. I know a lot of times they like to bring up his, witch hunt, if you will, against the Central Park exonerated, also formerly known as the Central Park 5. He did do all of that. He's a horrible guy for that. But it's like, why are y'all bringing this up now y'all wasn't mad about it then, but now suddenly he might get back into office, or when he was running, oh, he's a bad guy. Oh, remember what he did to them. But Al Sharpton, it seemed like he had too much of a problem with it. Jesse Jackson, they was piling around with him, for what I understand after that happened. So it was like, what's the difference now? What are we doing here?
And then wait, I have one more question for you. If Biden does get reelected, what's going to change for Black people in your opinion?
It's going to get worse for Black people. In fact, let me get Kimmy's question real quick. Statement says, and there are still a lot of people supporting Biden, saying he's done a good job or great job, and would vote for him again. That's just delusion,
I would say that would be baby boomers saying that, because we got a generation of kids that will never have home ownership. I mean, like we had it and our parents had it. You got to have an exorbitant amount of money. So that must be a baby boomer saying that type of stuff, because those are the people that, I got mine, y'all get yours,
Absolutely. Hello, Miss Cheesecake. I forgot what I was saying.
What do you think is going to change for Black people? Elected?
This is a little bit of getting old, and I don't sleep. I have not slept really at night in the last week, because I'm still trying to adjust from being in Tokyo. So y'all forgive me. What's going to change? I think it's going to get worse for Black people under the Democrats, because I think it actually will be one of the final nails in the coffin. I mean, we're already seeing what the Democrats are doing or not doing in regards to Black people. They're bringing the migrants over, and they're inundating the Black neighborhoods, what's left of them, right? With migrants, and just taking money and taking care of them and all that other stuff. So we always have known that they're trying to set them up to replace us, and that's not a secret. So with that in mind, you have to think about, as a Black person, you go and vote for the Democrats who have shown you no good reason as to why you should. You also got to think that I'm participating in my own demise, right? Because we see, especially in Chicago and New York and other places, where the migrants are just like, hey, we're here, deal with us, right? Now the residents are saying, oh my God, they're here, they're doing this, they're doing that, and they want to give all this money. Chicago, over $50 million to allocate toward helping them, and they still have not helped them. Like, I guess they supposed to, or whatever, or they really want to. Brandon Johnson telling people, we need to sacrifice, to help them. We're a sanctuary city. So it's like, on one hand, Black people, you're crying about what they're doing now, but kick your own ass. You know why? Because you voted for that. You voted for that. Again, I always use the analogy of you sticking your hand in a lion's mouth to say, oh my God, can you believe he bit my hand off? Ain't that what lions do? So you voted for that. Joe Biden, right when he wasn't even in office yet, he had won. He told the Black leaders, basically, shut the hell up. Do what I say, okay? And these Hispanics, y'all better learn to get along with them, because y'all gonna have to work with them, right? He didn't even get in there and hold his hand to the Bible and get inaugurated good before he was like, taking his mask off. Here's the real Joe Biden, Negroes. So it's gonna get worse for us.
And let me ask you this: when you went into Tokyo, what was one of the first things you did as you were trying to enter Tokyo? What was the first thing they asked you for?
My passport.
In your immigration status, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're going. You have to go through customs. Show me in the world where you could just walk into their country. They're going to provide housing, food, and education, and all this. And I get it. That's what makes America great. But in the modern age, that was great in the 1920s when we were just opening the damn borders and letting everybody come in for whatever. But in the modern age, show me a country where you can just walk into and break their laws, and they got to provide and do all these things for you, and you're going to suck up all of their resources. Show me what country other than the United States that happens, and that's like normal. That's normalcy. Yeah, just walk across the border over here now. Yeah, I know Europe has what is that called? The European Union, where but they still have passports. But show me where you can do that. And for people who are so-called Democrats that were against what Trump had said when he took office. That's one of the things I did respect about Trump when he took office. He said, look, I'm in control right now. If you come across this border without your papers and properly, vetted, you're going to face the consequences. It's cut and dry, so on and so forth, like that. To me, that made sense. If you don't have borders, you don't have a country. But go to Mexico. I'm in Southern California. You go to Mexico and you try to cross that border illegally and see what the Mexicans do to you. Where is it? And then we got to think about this, American Democrats. Some of these people are coming from Venezuela. So if you're coming from Venezuela and some of these deep Latin countries, you've got to cross several other countries to get here. So you're not coming here because you're being persecuted. You're not coming here because your life is in danger. You're coming here for the freebies and to make a better life for yourself. And that isn't normal. That isn't enough. We're not saying you can't come here under those auspices, but there are people that have been waiting for years doing it the right way according to our laws to get into the country. And you just show up and just bum rush in and you get resources and all this other stuff. And I want you to think about this, Black people. Think about this. 50% across the nation of homeless people are Black. United States says, well, we can't, just give people stuff because then that way it's socialism, right? Isn't that what they say? Isn't that the talking point? Well, that would be socialism. We just can't give them stuff. We can't give them stuff. Brandon Johnson just said that it is their right to house, feed, and clothe and educate and clothe these people. They're not even citizens. And guess who's paying for that? You are. I am. So you mean to tell me I have to take care of these people who aren't even citizens, and I can't even take care of the damn citizens that are American citizens right here in the United States? They could come up with all these ideas to put these people in hotels and make these new infrastructures to house them. But when it's an American citizen, and it's not a black and white thing to me, it's an American thing. We can't do a damn thing for them. And these people help pay the taxes. Come on now.
Absolutely. And Queen Trey, goddess and top-notch rocker, how you doing? And anyone else? Let me see. And Mama Deb, I didn't verbally say hello to you. How you doing today? I want to go back to, where did it go? Was it here? And Common Man 80, I didn't say verbally hello to you as well. So how you doing? It says Mayor Koch, who was a Democrat mayor of New York, called the Central Park Five savages and animals, but the Democrats won't bring that up. Yeah, and the prosecution, they were Democrats. They got, I want to say they donated money to Hillary. Like they're all in bed together, right? But it wasn't a problem. Nobody, and even to this day, nobody has brought up her role in it. All the, the DA's office there in New York City. Nobody brought them up, and they're big time Democrats as well. So it's selective outrage. And yes, it's a horrible thing that Trump and Koch and all of them were advocating for the death of innocent Black and brown boys. But yeah, they only do it to make us mad. I remember when Trump with with the Central Park Five, and then we fall for it instead of saying, yeah, I remember it was messed up. But did you have the same energy for the prosecution, DA's office, who were heavily Democrats and they were donating to each other's campaigns? Or what about, Mayor Koch? Was you mad with him? So, and then somebody, Mars, you say, is Cornell still in the running? That I know he's still running, yeah. But as far as is he in the running? Nah, he ain't in the running, but he's still running. Yeah, all right, yeah.
And then wait, and then Cornell West, he's 74, 75 years old.
Nah, he's 70.
70? Yeah, it's like 70 years old. So again, where are the young not progressive, but where are the young politicians? Now remember, the baby boomers came in under John F. Kennedy, the youngest guy ever elected to the presidency, 46 years old. That same generation will not let go. John Kennedy was almost 70 years ago.
You said John Kennedy was...
Yeah, when he was elected, it was like 60 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, 60
something years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That generation is still in power. There's a problem with that. It's crazy.
Yeah, you got the silent generation, right? Silent generation is the generation before the baby boomers. They are still holding on, you know. You got Mitch McConnell sitting up there who is like,
Stop. That's not right.
I'm sorry, what's not right? What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then they keep propping them back up there. It's like, what are you doing? Which also to me is very telling that these people that keep propping them up there is like, y'all the suckers that's running the country or whatever his job is supposed to be doing. Y'all just keep putting these very geriatric individuals up there. I mean, come on now. And Dianne Feinstein is like, I'm Diane? Oh, I thought you were Diane. Really? Are you sure? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
He
hey,
wasn't
come
even
on.
sure if she was a Democrat or a Republican for a while.
And
It's
then
crazy.
I think she didn't even know she was right. I am. She's finally retiring. It's like God leave, but Mitch McConnell, he's like, what am I not retiring from again? I know it should be because one day I'm probably gonna be, laid out. I don't know, but I'm just saying, if that is ever me, I want y'all to go to whoever's propping me up there and slap them twice firmly across the face. Okay? And say, don't do that to her. That is elder abuse. We are calling 211 to report it. Okay? That's the hotline you call it, report elder abuse. And I'm calling 211. There's been a crime committed. They keep propping this dude up there. He's got 1 foot in the grave and one on a banana peel, and they want him to run the country. That's got to be a crime.
And you think about it, Nancy Pelosi, Aunt Maxine, Clyburn, all of these people are in the same generation. They're baby boomers, or some of them are silent generation before that. And these people are still in Congress. Now, we really can't blame them, can we, Demetria? We really can't. If y'all going to keep sending them, they going to keep running. We got to look at ourselves and say, wait a minute. If you can walk out your door and you look and you live in a hood and there's gang members and shootings and trash all over the place, that's the representation that you voted for. It really is. And that's your fault. That's not their fault because you're not holding them accountable. My representative is Mark Takano, the first openly gay congressman. I don't even know why he has that as a moniker. But anyway, he was the first openly gay Asian congressman. Demetria, how often every time I see that man, do I hold him to task and I curse him out?
Yeah, and he, I told you he ran up on me one day at the Black History Parade. It's like, first of all, what is you doing here? You pandering. He ran up on me at the Black History Parade in California. And I'm just standing there watching, the festivities. And he stops. He looks at me. Says, how you doing? I said, I'm fine. How about you? I'm great. We're not going to have any trouble, are we? I'm like,
Demetria gets called out a lot because she's associated with me. So they look, when they see Demetria, they think of me because we used to run around here in a tandem. So
I just looked at him. I was like, am I supposed to answer that? Oh, no. That's not going to give you no troubles now. Well, I mean, what was I supposed to say to that? And I wasn't going to say, well, yeah. I was just like, man, go on and get your cotton candy and toodaloo up out of my face. That's what I was thinking, Oh, all right. Let's see here. I'm just saying, y'all, that I'm not trying to be mean, but Mitch McConnell, he's got a glitch. He's freezing. And it's concerning. Thank you so much, Kimmy. I love and appreciate you for that. And the reminder, it does help tremendously. Thank you 1 million times. And everybody else that donates to the channel, I do love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Okay, so let's see here. Y'all want me to open the link? Y'all got something to say? I don't have to if y'all don't want me to. But if y'all got something to say,
real quick, Mama Deb says Pelosi just announced she's running again at age 84. That's the problem right there.
Are we shocked that I'd be shocked if she said she wasn't? I mean, it's like, man, lady, your husband got ran up on in the house. Maybe he wasn't with his boyfriend. I don't know. He was robbed and hemmed up, and you like, are you okay, honey? Okay, good, because I'm gonna go run the country. It's like, come on, lady.
Well, my question to people that like Maxine and stuff like that, show me some life-changing legislation that is named after any of these so-called politicians, Clyburn, anybody in the CBC, Nancy Pelosi, anything that's like life-changing, that did something that just like rearranged the way we as regular citizens, it impacted our lives. They have no legislation other than gaining money for the Democratic Party. That's it. That's their claim to fame. They represent the Democratic Party. They don't represent Black people. They don't represent their constituents. They represent the Democratic Party. And that's the difference that everybody's got to understand. These are Democrats. They're not Black. They're not Asian. They're not whatever. They're Democrats.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, listen. I'm not going to be mad at Nancy Pelosi if she get back up in there for the 1,000th time. I'm not going to be mad at her. I'm going to be mad at y'all. Well, people in California, her district. I'm gonna be mad at them for voting for her. I mean, I'm not saying older people cannot, but I think it's a question of should they. I'm saying she should not. You know what I mean? Because even Nancy sometimes is, what time of day is it? A kente cloth. We wearing kente cloths for what?
Yeah, wait. Remember when they bent down and the kente cloth, half of them couldn't get back up?
Yeah. So it's like, but if y'all keep putting her back up in there, that's on you. Nancy has shown, I don't care about you or anybody else. During the pandemic, she walked out of Jimmy Fallon and one of them.
Oh my God, the ice cream thing.
Yeah, she walks him into her ice cream freezer. Oh, now did y'all hear what I said? They walked into her ice cream freezer. I got to walk to the kitchen and open up my little bitty freezer to get some ice cream, right?
Not even ice cream. You mean you need to get ice cubes.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be two of us standing in the freezer door at the same time talking about what's up in here. But her and one other person walked up into her ice cream freezer during the pandemic where people was like, oh my God. Like you said, I don't even know if we're gonna be able to afford an ice cube, but she said, here, look at my ice cream. I got y'all heard of 31 flavors? How about 1,001 flavors? That's what she was on. But yet somehow people see her as a suitable option to keep putting back up in there. Like, what in the hell is going on here?
Well, I got a question for you real quick, since we're talking politics, and I love it. Remember when there was a time that we had this thing called elder statesmen? Like usually when presidents like Obama right now, he would be considered an elder statesman. He's still viable. He still gets the directives. And, presidents could go to him and people could go to him for advice and all this other stuff, right? Have you noticed that we don't have any elder statesmen anymore, Demetra?
We actually do.
No, we actually don't, because most of them die in office.
I'm saying we do got elder statesmen. We got Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Right.
What's supposed to happen is between the ages of 46 and about 64 is when you're supposed to kind of be in Congress and you're mature, but you're not young and stuff like that. Then you're supposed to go off in the sunset and you're maybe in your late 60s, early 70s, and you're an elder statesman. People look to you to do speeches and tell you, how things are done in strategic think tanks. But we don't have that anymore, because by their cold, dead hands will they release power. We don't have elder statesmen anymore.
Yep, and I want to answer a couple of questions. Black America says, how can a congressperson clean up a community? Well, you're absolutely right. It's not necessarily on Congress. It's there's part of it because they are instrumental in allocating funds.
Right, bringing the funds back.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's actually on your city council people. That's why I said those elections are more important, because the city council people, aldermen or whatever you have where you live, they're the ones that's directly responsible for where they live, right? They're supposed to make sure the roads are good and, whatever, right? But the other thing is we are more captivated by the federal election than we are the local election. We know that local elections have the lowest turnout. We've seen where mayors and all kinds of people have gone unopposed, or It was a total of 600 people involved in the election. And, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's 600 people, but there's thousands of people that live in the city. So people just don't think it's important. But the mayor can, has a lot of say-so over the police department, the way money is spent. He or she they are the president, if you will, of the city, right? And then your Congress people, they're the ones that you can actually, you're more able to knock on your city council person's door than you can walk up to the White House and say, hey, Biden, I need to have a word with you. You can do that with your city council, but then you don't show up. And then you wonder why your city is running the way it is. Why, in that, if you are in one of our communities, you drive down the street and it's just dilapidated. The whole community, like when I'm driving in certain neighborhoods here, I'm like, golly, it's been left behind. It has the do the city council person know all this is going on over here? Are they aware? But then you go to the other people's community, it's pristine. It's like when you get into the neighborhood, it's like, ding. That's how clean it is, right? You don't see no trash nowhere. You see businesses. And I ain't talking about, the mom and pop. Those are cool. We need mom and pop businesses. But in the white community, they got 50-11 Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, and they got this and they got that, the schools. But in our neighborhoods, it's just like, it's almost the only thing that's missing sometimes. And I live in California, so we see them every once in a while, is the tumbleweed rolling down the street. That's the only thing that's missing. Except for a ball of trash.
Right. Demetra, remember we had a city council meeting and they wanted to put a gas station in the white neighborhood? How many white folks showed up and showed out?
Yeah. And they actually wanted to put a weed dispensary because, in California, you can.
And guess where all the weed dispensaries are in my city? In the Black and Hispanic communities.
Listen,
not in the white communities at all. You'll see white people buying over here, but it's not in their community.
Where I live in California, I lived on the cusp of, good community. I ain't gonna lie, I live in a decent community, okay? But right around the corner, and I'm talking literally right around the corner was Crack Alley. It really was. Like I would walk to the store, a lot, and I would see people just zoned out. But on the way to walking to the store, I passed like 3 or 4 marijuana dispensaries. I'm like, damn, if people getting that damn high around here, put some of these in a white people neighborhood. But when we went to the city council meeting, they were like, we will absolutely not. We will not have it. And if you think about doing it, we're going to get you out of here. But then the Black people show up and they're like, oh my God, you put a weed dispensary, a pawn shop, a check in the cash, and another Dollar Tree.
And a liquor store.
In our community. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't show up to the planning committee when they was talking about doing it. You show up afterwards. So as I always say, we sometimes as Black voters, we are reactive and not proactive. See, the white people, they like, what's going on, honey, at the city council? Oh, they're going to have a meeting about, bringing up marijuana.
It's all online. They download it, they read it, they dissect it, and they show up when they need to show up.
Yeah, they're abreast. They're like, okay, this is what happened when the one I went to. I actually went to one in San Bernardino, and this is what they do. They're like, okay, team, we've all got to get together, and we need to go down there and show a show of force and let them know. And they did. It was a whole bunch of white people. They got together, and they was like, we're not having it. But then, literally at the same meeting, the Black people was like, we told y'all we didn't want that in our neighborhood. And they're like, it's there. What you gonna do?
Yeah, that was voted on 60 days ago. And a good example of this, I'm glad you brought to the local level. You have a lot of cities have planning commission boards. They're not city council members, but they're like the next level. These are the people, they're usually regular citizens, just regular citizens. And they sit on this board and they decide what gets built and how a city gets built out or what land use is going to be used. Recently, a good friend of mine named Daryl Terrell, he's been in the city a long time. He recently got on the planning commission. And now he gets to make decisions on where stuff is going to go within the city. This is what we're talking about. When you used to go to these board members, there might be 1 Black on there, maybe 2, because usually a planning commission is like 9 people or something like that. There's a lot of people on it. And you rarely see us on it, even though we're the majority of the city. And these are the people that are the movers and shakers that go on from the planning commission. You go on, maybe become a city council member, or maybe run for assembly. It's just like a stepping stone as they go if you're going to be a political person. But within the city, You have people that lived there for 12, 15, 30 years. They've never gone to a city council meeting, never gone to a planning commission meeting, never gone to a school board meeting. And then they wonder, like you said, they're reactive versus being proactive. Hey, why is that warehouse going up right across the street from my $500,000, $600,000 home? That is now, if they build it, my house is going to be worth $250,000, maybe less than that, because I got a warehouse and a bunch of trucks coming up and down my street. This house is going to be hard to sell. Now, who wants to buy a house right in front of a major warehouse?
Yep, and Easy, you say, why is she back in speaking about Pelosi? I think he says, I know it's not the money. She's got frozen money in an ice cream freezer. It's greed. It's greed, and it's delusion, and it's drunk on power. People run for power, prestige, and money, right? And it's at her age, as long as she's been in there, it's probably all three of them. They just drunk off power. I cannot imagine not sitting at the helm of telling people what to do. You know, Nancy always talks about how she's raised the most money, the biggest fundraiser in Congress and all this other stuff. But it's like, who are you raising this money for? Because I seen you, giving a kiss to what's his name, Vladimir Zelensky. You was all booed up. I seen you do it. I saw you do it with your lips. Okay, so who you raising money for? So she's back in there because it's that she's probably just drunk off power. I'm that girl. Because y'all remember when the freshmen got in office, the freshmen being AOC and Iman, and then the other.
She slapped them chicks down quick.
Yeah, they was coming up in there. They was walking tall and talking tough. We're gonna make some changes around here. We're progressive in the Green Deal and all this other stuff. And Nancy was like, if y'all don't help us, don't sit down somewhere. Y'all ain't coming up in here and doing none of the above, okay? And you ain't heard a peep from none of them ever since. You haven't. So she's a king and queen maker, and she knows it.
Right. Well, what happened to an old girl that was talking about reparations, 14 trillion? You haven't heard nothing about it since. Corey Bush, whatever her name is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's walking tall and talking tough too, but it's an epic fail for them. And am I saying it right, Keisha? You say, can we also acknowledge the genocide of 2020 and the subsequent sudden death that have followed? We are being told, be ready. For COVID 2.2, Biden has said this himself, it's time for the real revolution. Well, as much as I'd love to give that a conversation on here, y'all know how these people feel about us having a conversation about that. I have heard a lot about the second wave coming down and a potential shutdown. Of course, we know the Republican states is like, we ain't shutting nothing down. I heard Jill Biden got COVID recently or something like that. So I don't know. It's a lot going on, to say the least. And let me see here. And Bobby, how you doing? And Kev J, how you doing? He says black mayors practice benign neglect also. Oh, yeah. They get in there before they get in there. They walking and talking with the people. Oh, we going to do this and we're going to do that. And they get in there and they start getting those white envelopes full of money and favors and stuff. They're like, man, F them black people. It's all about me. I mean, look how fast Brandon Johnson there in Chicago did it. He ain't even been there, maybe 6 months at this point? And he done did it the whole 180. To 2 weeks after he got up in there. So it's like, this is the stupid part for him. Well, you ain't saw what happened to your predecessor, Lori Lightfoot. She was out there in one term, and that's the first time it happened in 40 years. So you don't think that's going to happen to you? So he might already know, but maybe he's just grabbing all the money and stuff he can while he's there. But the other thing is, you could be recalled. And I think people would do it.
The sad thing about him is he told them he was going to take care of the migrants. He told them before he even got elected, this is what he was going to do. Like I said,
he did, but he didn't, because he was more or less like, well, we got to take care of home first. And then, but then when he got in there, he switched up.
The word salad and stuff like that, because he's beheld to the Democratic Party, not to the black folks.
Right. And now Black America says it's trash because of the people that live there. I totally 1,000. Well, I agree. Mostly it is because
how dare you? Black people, we don't live like that. We don't have to. Really.
But I mean, come on, that's
true.
Real.
No, I agree.
There's other insinuating factors. Maybe some trash and blew up in there, or maybe the bushes are overgrown, and in the what do you call it? The part that belongs to the city starts with the E. It slips my mind really quick. The easements. Maybe it's the easements that belongs to the city. Then maybe they ain't trimmed the bushes. And we know if you go in any black neighborhood, whatever, the bushes are overgrown, the grass in the fields and all kind of stuff. But you don't see that kind of stuff in the white neighborhoods because, and this is this again, where we got to slap ourselves, is the white people. They like, listen, bucko, we get you up in there and you don't do your job, you out of here. You ain't getting back up in here next term. So keep the bushes trimmed around here, keep the grass low, keep the riffraff out, keep Whole Foods rocking and rolling, and you good. But if you get up in here, you get to ignoring the will and the wishes of the people, you out of here. That's one thing I would say about them. They don't keep their, to us, the people they elect might not be good people, but to them, they are good people. They're doing what we elected them to do.
Exactly. So, and then you don't see, they know where their kids are at night and during the day and stuff like this. Now, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I live in one of the oldest parts of my city. My area was the forming of the city. We have a population of 210,000 people and growing. As the gentrification out of LA, they make a stop here, then realize they can't afford to live here either. Then they keep moving on to Houston and Texas and places like that. We have a thing known as a city app. Now, Dimitri will tell you, my neighborhood was inundated with people who just didn't give a damn, right? My neighborhood is mostly Hispanic now. You know, a lot of them are migrants, first generation, second generation Mexicans, whatever. And so people with graffiti, right? I'm walking my dog. Hey, every day it's a fight. I used to call in the graffiti every day. Dumping, I used to call that in every day. It's gotten to a point now, my neighborhood, I advocated for a bathroom. We needed a bathroom over here. I've advocated for lighting. All of this stuff is being done because I stayed on their ass. Period. Stayed on their ass. Went to the city council meetings. So much so that I started a podcast and I was blasting the city on the podcast. Now, nobody wants any negative press, and I was showing what was going on. Do you know how fast I got the response from the city in regards to things that I need in my neighborhood? It was that quick. And the graffiti kids got tired of putting out the graffiti and then them erasing it, because what they're doing is they're looking at the handwriting. And I would put up the graffiti and I would blast the parents. I like, y'all know whose handwriting this is and what's going on. And that's what we got to start doing. We have to start taking care of our neighborhoods like we used to do, with a little bit of pride. With a little bit of pride. Where are your kids at? What are your kids doing running around the streets and you don't know what they're, what's going on? We've got one of the bad things about my city is we don't have a youth center, but we give money to the elders, which I never understood. I sat at city council and I said, I don't understand why we are giving money to people who are retired and have money, and yet we've got droves of roaming teenage gangsters running around vandalizing the city. They have no youth center. They have nothing. And that's something that I'm advocating. I've been advocating for a long time. And you know what? It's making sense. So that's what we got to start doing. We got to start speaking up and start showing out at these city council meetings and letting them know, if you're going to be doing this, hey, we're going to get you out of here. Demetra, and I'm not the one to really blow my horn like this, but Demetra's brother, he had a friend that was like running in politics. Remember that Walter was saying? And he said, and Walter said, oh, I got a guy named Donovan Sadiq. You know him? Conversation was over at that point. Okay. If you're a politician in Southern California, in my neighborhood, I'm the guy you want to avoid, because I will drop dime on you.
That did happen too. And hello, Brother Samuel. And to everybody else that came on here, I'm going to try to make sure I don't skip anybody, at least saying hello to you. Say, according to one doctor and scientist, those who were jabbed with the first, will experience the greatest problems when a second wave comes around. And I also think it's going to be a big problem, because now a lot of people aren't going to want to take it. They're like, okay, we were kind of skeptical the first time and we did it, but this time it's like, nah, I ain't doing it. Because I did hear that they are trying to get people to do it, because there is, I guess, one coming around. But I just think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Nah, y'all got me the first time, but you ain't gonna get me this time." Mm-mm. So I think that's why it's gonna be problematic as well. And let's see here. Easy says, "Sorry to say, we don't have a neighborhood anymore because we love, and it to include everybody." See, I think we are having an awakening now, especially there in Chicago, where because we are as Black people, we include everybody. Oh, everybody, come along, and it's like, well, we don't have nothing. That's okay. We're a people where we always figure it out. We always try to help everybody. But the people in Chicago, New York, and everywhere else, Black people are everywhere, really, we're starting to see how that has not been working in our favor, aren't we? You know what I mean? We're starting to see now that it's best to do for self first. You know what I mean? Do for self and do for self first. Because I don't know, will we ever be able to, when I say we, I'm talking about people like in Chicago, are they ever going to be able to get it back to where the migrants aren't overrunning them now? Will that ever be stopped? You know, and if you ask me, I think they're gonna need somebody like Trump to get in. I'm not saying that people shouldn't come over here, but yeah, you should be able to come over here and follow a process. But to just converge on to the, the states and all of that and say, we here, you got to take care of us. I think Trump will say, all right, who all we got up over here that ain't supposed to be here? And I think he's gonna say, okay, y'all need to go on back where you came from, and then you come over here the right way or whatever the case is. And the other thing too is people who are talking about, Greg Abbott's, which I can't stand Greg Abbott. That's the governor of Texas. I can't, people who can't stand him because the way he is on migrants. Y'all see he got those orange razor blade balls up in the middle of the water, which, a judge was like, yeah, he can leave him up because they tried to sue him and take him down. I forgot what I was even saying. That's just getting old. What was I saying? You don't know either, huh?
Oh no, what you were saying was why people don't like Greg Abbott.
Oh, I still don't remember, but I think what I was trying to, I know it's bad, y'all. It's bad.
Long day for you, long day.
Yeah, but and it's even longer. I still got stuff to do when I get off of here. They aren't gonna allow people to just come over here. Whatever, you got to do it the right way. I guess that's what I was trying to say. I don't know.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that? Do you guys realize there is over, I believe last I checked, 340,000 people that have applied the right way for immigration status into the United States that are waiting in their home countries, wherever they're waiting at, trying to do it the right way. And we're just opening up the borders and letting people just come in the illegal way. And how is that fair? Let's just deal with fairness. How is that fair?
Yeah, Kimmy, you said we need more skating rinks. I'm getting into it. Yeah, I'm a skater as well. I have a pair of roller skates that I haven't skated in a while. I'm not near anything that I can skate on.
Yeah, see, Demetria's one of those skaters, guys, that you be hating on at the rink or even outside, like at Venice Beach, because she likes to skate backwards and stuff and be doing her little thing with the socks and everything.
I can do all of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I be hating on people like that because I can only skate forward.
Yeah, I can dance on skates. Not like you see some people where they be, I do all right. I can backward skate, I can forward skate, and I can speed skate because I grew up. My siblings and I right next door to a skating rink, and we would hop the wall and go skate for hours and hours and hours in the summer. And so we all know how to skate. It's one of my favorite pastimes, and it sure does make your legs look good if you do it a lot. Yes, Tanya, stop inviting everybody to the cookout. Absolutely. But you know how you invited to the cookout because they didn't, did a dance or something stupid, And Michael, you say Demetri and Donovan are rich. Black politicians gentrify their own communities because they welcome white people with money. And the white people welcome them with money, right? And Common Man said, I was just staying in my house and on my property, I'll order my food and they can put it in the wooden box I build. Yep. Dang, you really gonna be isolated.
Right. How many of you guys have heard California just approved $20 an hour for fast food workers? Now, to some of you guys, wherever you guys are listening to, that might be like, wow, that's pretty good. In California, that's just enough to keep the lights on. It's just enough. That $20 is nothing out here. That's just enough to put gas in your car, possibly pay your rent and get some yam and some Zoomies.
Yeah, Black America says, let's cut Section 8 welfare and WIC. I don't think that we should cut it because I think it is needed. I think there are people who need those things. However, I think there needs to be checks and balances. But that's up for the people who's administering that. Somebody may have been on some of those programs for years and years and years and years and years. I think there should be some sort of a time, because people who are on those social services, they actually have it better than a lot of people in regards to being able to get on their feet. You can go to school for free. They give you vouchers to go buy clothing, to look for jobs. And so you have an opportunity.
Childcare. I mean, there's no excuse how these people stay on there for years when they have the advantage over a regular person.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that they could do. So I don't think the problem is the system in itself. As far as helping people, I think the problem is the longevity in which a lot of those people are helped, because you ain't going to tell me that you've been on the system for 10, 15 years and you haven't been able to go to school. Because like I said, they let you go. A lot of times you go to school for free. You get book vouchers where you don't have to pay for your book. So there's a lot of opportunity there for you to help yourself. But whoever is over that particular thing, they're the ones that are dropping the ball. They should say, okay, Becky Ann and Benny out there. I said Becky Ann because we ain't going to say that is all, Black women or Black people. Becky Ann then been on, the system for 15 years. What has she done in that time? Nothing. Okay, it was time for Becky Ann to get off and go make it do what it do, right? But I don't think we should cut it, because there are some people who get down on their luck or whatever, and they need those services. So, you know what I mean? Black America. Common Man says they're bringing back the ice cream, the ICE truck in a whole new way. Wow. Easy says, D, can you teach me how to skate? And I will teach you how to ski. You know what? That sounds like an even trade. I'll teach you how to skate. When I go skating, especially with the youngsters, they're like, what? How you know how to do that? It's almost like riding a bike. You never forget, I got a nice pair of roller skates too. My daughter actually bought them for me. They leopard roller skates with the red wheels. They top notch. They some Impalas. They're really nice. I would like to go to a skating rink. I just need to find a good one. I like to go, on R&B night or something like that.
Demetra and I, when I started skateboarding, we used to skateboard in like when people would drain their pools in California here. And I remember my first skateboard had steel wheels on it. Demetra's first skates had steel wheels.
They did.
Whose idea was that? Steel wheels.
Yes. Yeah, that's back in my mama day. They had and back then they had the steel wheels or the skates that you have to adjust them to the size of your shoe. And then you put them on the metal part, and then you had the shoe on, and you strap them on, and then you go. Yeah, I hear you, sucker. I ain't that damn old. And Marcia says, mine too, but here in Capitol Hill area, I've never saw that many people lined up like weed was crack. So maybe you responded to somebody else.
And then I got another question for you. Whatever happened to the inline skates? You don't see them anymore.
They have them, but at the Eddie ain't nothing like.
Yeah, they didn't pop off like they thought they were gonna pop off.
Ain't nothing like the quads. And Michael said, Donovan, you say, what should a living wage in California look like?
About $27.50 starting. That's minimum.
And it's 27 to 35 is what they're saying. And even then in California, it's all right. It's all right. $35 for $35 an hour, I think is good. But $20 and that $20 an hour does not apply to all fast food restaurant workers. If it's a mom and pop, they have to actually have a chain of 60 restaurants or more to qualify for the $20 an hour. So if they don't have that, they're a mom and pop, those don't qualify for the $20 an hour. And then I guess over time, it's supposed to adjust to like maybe 25, 23, 26 or something like that over time, dollars an hour. Now, there are some people who are saying, hey, Maureen, you're saying good night. I don't know if you're leaving. And Harley, how you doing? Some people are saying, oh, that's a lot of money for a fast food work or whatever. No, it's not, because it's not the children that are working in the restaurants anymore. It's the adults that are working. Back when I was at 16, I worked at McDonald's, and it was mostly, teenagers. They had some adults, maybe some older people, senior citizens, but mostly it was kids. My mom and them wasn't working up at McDonald's and trying to pay the rent or nothing like that. It was the children. But now you have people, adults that are working there, and they do have responsibilities like paying rent and all that. And they're not doing that on no $15 an hour. Hell, you can't even do that here in Texas on $15 an hour. I think though maybe the only place you can do it is maybe somewhere like Mississippi, and it depends on where in Mississippi.
Gas in California, in my neighborhood right now, is $5.05. That's the cheapest I can find in my direct area. That's just gas.
Tanya, I heard something like that, but it's like what is going on here? Top notch rocker. Thank you so much. You say we must be proactive citizens in our community. Yeah, don't wait until the building's on fire. Go out there and do some inspections. Make sure ain't nobody striking a match, or something like that. You know what I mean? So we must be proactive.
Yeah, but when I retired from the military, that was one of the first things. I looked at my neighborhood. I said, what the hell is going on? And I took my ass to the city council to get a good idea. And I've been raising hell ever since.
Yeah, you got to. And the King GP show, how you doing? He says, you guys plan on opening the panel? Yeah. Donovan, how much time you got? Well, we'll open it. Okay, this is gonna be the rules, okay? These are the rules. It's 7. Okay. Oh yeah, we supposed to be off of here at 7, huh? 7:17. I'm gonna put the link up here. Okay, I'm gonna do it right now. And the only thing other that I ask you, a couple things. If I've never seen you on here before, I need to see your face before I bring you up to the big screen to make sure it's no shenanigans. Also, I need you to be brief. I'm not asking for a history lesson. I don't want what had happened was back in the day. Ask your question, and then we can keep it pushing. Because Donovan, I know, got stuff to do, and so do I. So I don't want to be on here too much longer.
And you must be a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Well, then, damn it. I'm not going to waste my time putting the link up then, okay? So I'm putting it up right now. So yes.
Oh yeah, and Don P just put up what $20 an hour is. It comes out to about $41,000 a year. So you're not going to survive even with $20 an hour, not in California, not in these big cities. That's $40,000 a year. You could make that sitting on your ass.
Damn. Yeah. Black American says you lost your teeth to those steel wheels. Why, somebody hit you in the face with them, or what? Did you fall? Because them things, they got rusty. Them wheels was not rolling. Okay. Trust me, they were not gonna roll. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're all smiles now. So I'm gonna wait and see if anybody comes on here. But as I said, don't get up here and lean on the mic because I'm gonna cut you off. But I love you though. King of Sorrows, you say I was a skateboard kid too. I skateboarded, but I didn't do it much. I know how. Today I know how to skateboard, but I wasn't like going no long distances on the skateboard.
Look, I'm in the physics. Demetra could never be a good skateboarder because her balance is constantly off on a skateboard. I'm sorry, Demetra. It just is.
Shut up.
Yo, what's good?
Hey there, how you doing?
I'm good. What about you?
Fabulous, no complaints.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna keep this brief because it's like a business inquiry I have. Thing is, I started my own YouTube channel. I started being consistent in uploading. I was wondering if you could get at Phil and ask him if he could get at me to ask me. I mean, like, I want to be a contributor on Phil's channel. I want to ask you if you could reach out to Phil and ask him to get at me so I can be a contributor. Because I already had talked to Kellen. He sent me the link to like apply to be a contributor, but I didn't get a response yet, and it's been a few days. I just want to ask if you could reach out to Phil to inquire about me.
Well, I don't want to do Kellen's job as it is not my job to do that. So I don't want to, step out of what I'm supposed to be doing. So what I would say is allow Kellen to get back to you, because I'm sure, Kellen, he is the channel manager among some other things. So he's wearing a lot of hats. So if he hasn't gotten back to you right away, I'm sure it's not because he's ignoring you. He's probably just, doing some other stuff. But I'm more than positive. I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure he'll probably get back to you. So just be patient. And if you don't hear back from him, reach out to him. But I don't want to step into Kellen's shoes, if that makes any sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So he acknowledged you. So he did see that you inquired. So that's, I think, more than half the battle.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But might you guys be willing to check out my YouTube channel too? Can I go on?
Absolutely. What is the name? Is this the name of your YouTube channel here?
Yeah, on the top before the head, but I mean on the top in the
King
green right
GP.
there. Yeah, that's
King.
my YouTube channel.
Okay, so y'all do me a favor, go over and check out King GP's channel and subscribe. I'm going to do it once I get off of here. Anybody else that has a channel, please put it in the chat and say, hey, follow me, because I want to say this to us as well. If we follow each other, and every once in a while pop in and watch the stuff, then we all could get paid. You know what I mean? That's another way we can, practice group economics, is supporting one another's endeavors. So if you have something that you want to be supported, put it in the chat, and let's all do our best to follow it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well,
You're
the thing is,
welcome.
I got a date and I got to head to in a few minutes, so I'm gonna get up off here. But y'all have a good night.
And you have a good night too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Bye. All right, Michael, I saw you came up, and let me hold on one second. Easy E, thank you so much for the donation. I love and appreciate you for that. Michael, what's on your mind?
Hi, Donovan, Demetra. How you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Are you fully recovered from your jet lag?
No.
No, I mean you look like you are. It sounds like you sound very energetic this time.
I'm faking it. I'm faking on. It's getting a little better. I can't. I don't go to bed until very late. I might fall asleep at about 2:30, and then I have to get up early. So yeah, and I just keep going and going and going and going. And I'm thinking, okay, eventually I'm going to catch up. What they call your circadian rhythm. It'll normalize to where I'm at. But I think it's starting to. But man, I just be up like this all night. So
yeah, it's just like I'm gonna add something quick. Yeah, so because someone made a comment, about cutting Wix, Snap. This is my solution to existing programs, because it's very convoluted, very bureaucratic. It's means testing, and very few people actually qualify for Sexinate and other programs. It's so bureaucratic, and we spend so much money, but at the same time, a lot of people don't qualify. And my solution to this program, because we pay taxes every year, right? But we don't, at the same time, majority of us don't qualify because we earn too much, but at the same time, we struggle to afford the cost of living, rent, putting food on the table. And I think the solution we need to have is, let's consolidate the Section 8, SNAP, WIC into a CAS benefit program. And I say that because with a WIC and SNAP, you really don't have a lot of freedom. You can't even buy napkins, which I thought is ridiculous, right? Because you need napkin if you're going to cook every day. So how's napkin not essential, right? So there's a lot of restrictions. So by having CAS benefits program, people have the freedom to wherever they want. If they want to buy napkins, buy lobster, or by whatever they need. At least it's for them, it's security, it's freedom, and you don't have to worry so much about red tape and a lot of complicated stuff. And so I really think that universal basic income should be a replacement for Section 8, SNAP, but I do think it should be done carefully, because other countries have experimented with universal basic income, such as Finland and Canada. That's number one. And number two is, and of course, reparations are needed for you guys in your community. Of course, didn't forget about that as well. And also for living wage to, like you said, Donovan, should be $27.50 an hour in California. That's great, but at the same time, the cost of living needs to decrease in terms of buying a house, renting, starting a business. Like the cost needs to drop in order for the living wage to go to be effective, and also for mom and pops who are having a hard time paying their employees a living wage. In the comments, I said state, local, and federal officials need to provide small businesses with financial assistance who are trying their best to pay the employees a living wage. Or we know very clearly big corporations, they don't need government handouts. They definitely can afford to pay their employees a living wage.
Right. Okay.
Yes. And my question, and this brings up to this question I'm about to ask. So you mentioned that local and state elections, local and state elections do matter every day because they affect people the most every day when it comes to roads, bridges, cutting grass, cutting trees, right? And what if you start at the local level, you talk to council members, your mayors, and then they don't do anything about it. Do you think it's necessary to contact your congressman at the federal level as a last resort, because the three players are needed. I'm sorry, the three levels of government are needed to solve whatever issues are happening at the local level.
Yeah, here's the problem with that, Michael. A congressman has no authority over let's say a county supervisor. A county supervisor has no authority over a city council member.
Right.
If they're elected by the people are the only ones that they are accountable to. So that's when you have the recall situation going in. Now, in my city, when we had the big corruption thing, there was recalls happening all the time because the corruption was going on. So what they did was the politicians, they got together and said, okay, well, we're going to try to stop these recalls because the threshold to do a recall was so low. They reorganized the districts. And instead of having maybe 15,000 people in the district, now there's 65,000 people in the district. And according to the state rule or whatever it is, you have to get 30% of the elected registered voters to get the recall on the ballot. So now you went from 15,000 people now to 60,000 people. You got to go to these people's doors and knock on their doors and do whatever, get these signatures, and you got to verify the signatures. So what politicians are doing to protect themselves, they're making the districts bigger so that recalls can't be so quick and automatic to get them up out of there. But a recall is the accountable measure to local politicians.
Right, especially with your governor, your current governor, Gavin Newsom, who went for a recall not too long ago. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And until people start exercising that thing, it's all hollering and screaming. That's all it is.
Absolutely. So we're going to let Black America come up here. Michael, thank you so much for gracing us this evening.
Yes. Thank you so much. And that's why I said with the elimination of the welfare Section 8 and make it into a program for everybody, like free job training, free tuition, that should be more effective. And plus reparations and universal basic income. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back and see us again. Black America. What's on your mind?
Hello, good evening, and good day to you and Demetri and Donovan. I just got a whole lot of smoke for you today, Donovan. Michael has proven once again that he don't know black chicanery and the things that we do in Niggerville as far as Section 8. My little sister is a welfare queen. Okay, been married 26 years, done been on Section 8 and food stamps the whole time. Okay, the whole time. 10 kids or 11. She might got 11 kids, I think now. I think she got 11 kids now. Okay, you don't know nothing about no black people, bro. So with Donovan, we go back to a little farther in the show. You mentioned Joe Biden with the 95 crime bill. Donovan, what started happening in California in the early 1980s?
Man, that crack epidemic and the gangs and Tukey Williams and everybody like that.
Okay, so by the 90s, it was full blown, bro. Just like I know, we was riding down the street with pistols on our gun. We might as well been the cowboys back then. That, as bad as it came out to be, and I got caught up in it. I went to prison in 96. That 95 crime bill, it was needed. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have a community at all. There, it was wide open. So it had to be some kind of stringent reins put down on us in the neighborhood, because like I said, we were animals. It's okay, I can say it. I know I was an animal. We were animals. We were doing anything and everything. It didn't matter. And the base heads, they would do anything for $1. So things like that. We have to stop looking at this. I'm an independent, so I don't believe in Republicans or Democrats per se. But you posed the question, what did Trump do bad and what this person has done? From all back in history, name me one person in history that helped Black people and did not end up assassinated.
You said assassinated because I was about to drop some numbers on you, but you said it did not end up assassinated.
Yeah, that did not end up assassinated.
I was gonna say John Brown. There's a bunch of people.
Yeah, no, they cut his head off too, I believe.
Yeah, they did.
Everybody since Abraham Lincoln, he caught one in the back of the head. If you help Black people, you will end up gone.
FDR.
FDR didn't help Black people. FDR helped everybody with the welfare system. It was just us as a bleed over.
Right, but
go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I gotta, you know what, we was doing well on Sunday. We was getting along and all of that, agreeing. Show you right, Black America. You show it. You preaching. That was we was on Sunday, but now I think it's a new day. See, we got to give it the proper context. FDR, as much as we hate to say it, he did help Black people. He helped Black people during a time when it was really unfashionable to help Black people. In fact, he was vehement about not doing it. It was his wife that made him do it. Very unpopular and knee deep in Jim Crow, right after the Great Depression, where only white people were getting the jobs and Black people were just really left out there. So they were included in. I do agree it was inclusive. I'm not saying it wasn't, but that was a time where Black people were brought along, right? Because Black people were excluded. And then they said, okay, we're going to bring them along because we do need the Negro vote. So you said a time in history. And so that's really one of the ones I can think of. And you're right, John Brown, yeah, he paid the price for that one. He's an abolitionist, if you will. But the other thing I want to take exception to, my dear brother, is you said that the crime bill was needed. Because we, what I'm saying, collectively, were animals. Well, I'm going to ask you this, Black America. How did you get a hold of the crack? Did you bring it over on your yacht or did you fly it in on your airplane? How did you get it?
Okay, that leads to my other part of him, because he was talking about the first step back. No, when it came to that.
Wait, just answer that question first.
I did go over the border. Yes.
But I'm saying, did you have some ships, some cargo, some planes, or what? Like, did you bring it over here yourself, like an abundance of it, or did you just go get enough for you and maybe your crew?
I got plenty. This is when I was younger. This was when I was younger.
Come on, brother. I know a little something. You might have been the plug, like the little plug, but was you the plug?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't Pablo. No, I wasn't.
Was you the United States government? Was you the CIA?
What does that have to do with anything? See, now, because I can listen, I can take accountability on what I was doing in my own neighborhood.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you weren't accountable for deciding to do what you did. I'm saying, brother, how did that get over here to turn you into an animal?
How did it get over here?
Yeah.
A lot of us who were actual businessmen that ended up in the federal prisons, we we had people, we had people, and it's not saying that we were doing something right. It was a business like any other business. Yes, it was wrong and mischievous and all different types of things, but it was a business. And with the First Step Act, that act is only for federal inmates. You are aware of that, right?
Yeah, anything that the federal government does is only speaking to the federal government. They don't have jurisdiction over the states.
Right. So it's 10 times more people in state penitentiaries than it is in federal penitentiaries. So the First Step Act, I was in a federal penitentiary, and besides guys who might have been doing a little trafficking and things like that, it's full of white guys. It's not full of brothers and sisters. It's full of white guys with bank fraud and stuff like that. So that First Step Act, once again, it bled over to some black people, but it wasn't for black people. If anybody's ever been to a correction facility and you go inside of there, that's why they always say I know you've heard it. Federal prisons are like holidays or club fed. Right. They're like club fed. For that very reason, it's full of white people, and you know, yeah, we was having steak, and I had cookies and shit like that. Like
But
like
you got to understand this, Black American. The 1995 4 crime bill, it's still in effect today. It incentivizes states to incarcerate as many people as they can to get matching federal dollars, and that was the whole point of it. For every person that they incarcerated and the cost that it took to incarcerate that person, that bill incentivizes them to arrest people, mostly us, and put us in jail, and they would get matching funds to house and do whatever they need to do that. And that bill is still in effect today. And it's basically, and we've seen it as it's played out. Like I said, it should be repealed by now, but it isn't. With the rise of the private prison thing, that's another situation that also is part of the 1994 crime bill. It incentivizes them to keep these prisons maximized so that they can turn a profit. That is one of the reasons why it needs to be repealed, because it incentivizes incarceration of possibly people that shouldn't go to jail for minor infractions.
And so, and I want to kind of finish my point too, in regards to, you're saying that it was needed, and Black America, you seem very versed about, the bill and the government and things like that, but you know that those bills were targeting Black people. Of course, I don't need to tell you about the difference it made between crack and powder cocaine, and that we know powder cocaine was considered a white drug of choice and crack a Black drug of choice. Of course, you also know that the CIA admitted that they were very instrumental in dropping the crack off into the Black community to dilapidate the Black community. Joe Biden, you don't think he spent 50 years plus in Washington? You don't think he knew anything about that? So then they go behind with this bill to lock up disproportionately a lot of Black people. Now we're talking about the prisons. Like Donovan said, a lot of those prisons are private. And so we know that private prisons only turn a profit when beds are filled. It is said that they need at least a 90% occupancy rate, which means they need 90% of those beds filled at least to turn a profit return on their investors. They got investors, right? And so when you think about the machine in its totality, then you go back to your comment that the bill was needed. It was like, why was it needed though? Because the other thing is, when you suck all the resources out of a neighborhood, of course, I ain't got to tell you that, you suck all the resources out of the neighborhood, and then you put this money-making mechanism, being cracked into the neighborhood, what you think people gonna do? They gonna pick it up, they gonna sell it, they gonna smoke it, they gonna do whatever they gotta do with it, and that's what happened. So all that was by design. And I think about what Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, and even James Baldwin said. It said, we didn't create the N word, but we just act like that. Now, the N word was created by the same people that drop the crack off into the neighborhoods and then put you on the hook for it. So, you know, and also, of course, I don't need to tell you the devastating effect that that had on our community. Because a lot of times when we think about somebody who delved into crack, we think about somebody who wasn't doing anything already. They was already in a bad way. They was already walking the streets doing nothing. But that crack got everybody from lawyers and doctors and preachers and teachers and you name it. It swept it. I don't know one black person that, well, maybe Donovan, but I don't know one black person that has not been affected by crack, whether they had a loved one that was addicted to it or somebody who was locked up for selling it or anything in between. So that was done by design. So I think, and I can't tell you what to do, Black America, I think we need to be very careful when we shape how the legislation, the very racist Jim Crow legislation that was shaped is affect
authored by Joe Biden.
Yeah, he just proudly said that he was the author of that. While white people, they barely got a slap on the wrist. Even those who did smoke crack, because don't get it twisted, white people was up in the neighborhoods getting the crack too.
Yeah, and they were, and it's not a problem with that, right? It's not a problem with them being up in the neighborhoods and getting it. This is what I'm saying. If I go into a store and I see a bag of carrots and I see a bag of donuts, I have a choice to make to which one is going to be good or healthy for me. If I make a bad decision and a bad choice, now, like I said, I take full accountability for what I did as a young person. You know, this is all the way back in the 90s. I take full accountability for what I did as a young person. And I went and I did what I had to do to come back and be a better person. The whole thing about it is we can't just say that, oh, it's their fault, because we could have picked that bag of carrots up. Instead, we took those cookies. You understand? And yes, the dilapidation and things of that like that of our neighborhood, those things, it wasn't the smokers that was going around doing all of the bad stuff. It was the people that was actually making money, you know, people riding around in Mercedes and big trucks and navigators and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, it was a couple of crackheads. They'll go knock over a liquor store or something like that. But for the most part, all of the, like I said, it was the wild, wild west. People were getting, like he said, people were getting taken out left and right. It wasn't the crackheads doing that. So it's not the people that's actually using the drug. I don't care about the white people or black people that's using said drugs. What happens is we didn't make good decisions as young people, and we destroyed our neighborhoods. And
I hear what you're saying. I'm all for personal responsibility. Trust me, I am. I'm not saying that, you know, people who participated in it either way, it was good. Obviously, we know it wasn't. I mean, the community still has not come back and nowhere near coming back from, you know, the crack epidemic, if you will, because we talk about the crack epidemic back then as though it's gone away. It's still really here. We just don't talk about it as much anymore, right? But so yeah, personal responsibility is fine, but I just think when we do that, we don't have the full conversation as to why you was even picking up crack rocks to sell in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So we yeah. And facts not feelings. I didn't say hello to you verbally. How you doing? You made a good point that we might be able to have a class action against the federal government because they admitted that they did that, and the design was to ruin the Black community. And between Joe Biden, the crack epidemic, and a whole host of other things, there's been generations of Black people lost and destroyed, whether locked up, you know, overdose or, you know, anything else in between. And so I hear what you're saying, but I don't ever think that we should have that conversation without saying I, as Black America, would not have gotten a hold of those crack rocks to sell and probably wouldn't be in jail for that if it wasn't in our neighborhood in the first place. It was there nefariously. They said that. We did this to y'all. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just totally don't agree with you. I mean, I understand wholeheartedly what you're saying, but you're you're really completely wrong because it's like with the comment I made about the trashy neighborhoods. People have trash in their neighbor. I don't care where you stay at. I stay in an all black community, and it's a I could set my watch by the naked meth head that walks up the street every day. Okay, but I tell you what, my grass is cut and my block is clean because I do it. Now, if you go one block over, it's abandoned buildings, it's dilapidated, it looks like nobody lives there. That's because they don't care. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not some white person's fault. It's not some council member's fault that somebody won't clean up their own damn yard and cut their own damn grass, or or won't park. Well, I got cars too parked on the line, but at least my cars, at least I got decent cars. Like, they won't
There's
park the
always
cars
that
on.
one neighbor in the neighborhood that has his cars all.
Right, right. You know what I mean? Like, got cars up underneath the tree with engines hanging off of them and things like that. You go in every city. I go to every city and deal with black people, youths and street people and things of that nature. Every city, every neighborhood, and I see the same daggone people in every it from it. It'll be Nebraska in a couple of weeks. It's going to be Dallas in a few weeks, and then down to Kentucky. Every neighborhood I go to where it's black people, it's the same damn thing. It doesn't matter. It's trashy because of the people that live there are trashy. It only gets better when those people start selling their homes to these white people, and the white people start coming in and putting astroturf in and cutting their grass.
But let me say this too. So yeah, that does seem to be a problem in our neighborhoods. Not that the people are trashy, it's sometimes our the way we see life is trashy. You got to also take into account. You're talking about the people who have and still are enduring a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not saying it's right to litter, it's not. But I think we cannot just conclude that black people are trashy, which is why the neighborhood is trashy. You got to lump in the causes. There's a cause and effect to that. You also got to concede that when you go to those so-called trashy neighborhoods where there's trash, look in there and you'll see that it's devoid of resources. It just is. So you got a people that's hopeless. Let me finish. There's a lot of despair, and I'm not making excuses for dropping trash or whatever, but the resources are not there. I don't live in the hood or the neighborhood or anything, but I drive through there, and trust me, I see the same thing. It's fast food restaurants everywhere you can look, checking the cash, pawn shops, just all the kind of low level stuff in our neighborhoods, food deserts. So it's not just the people are neglecting the area; it's also the city council and the other people who are supposed to care about it. But don't tell me that you expect for people, which is how you got caught up, I'm sure, selling crack. Because if you had an opportunity to do something else within the neighborhood you was in, you probably wouldn't be selling crack. I don't know, maybe you would. But if there were other opportunities for people to have a sustainable job, like back in the day, let's say somewhere in Detroit where they had the Ford Motor Company and all that, that actually helped a lot of black families sustain itself, send children to colleges. The mothers, you didn't have to work and all of that. They don't have those type of jobs no more. So it was just a perfect storm that was created by the federal government to capsize the black community, and we have not recovered from that even to this day.
Once again, I disagree with you. My dad came home from Vietnam, and he was one of those black soldiers that had a great job when he came home from Vietnam. I myself uh, was a firefighter before I went to prison. I actually had just passed my test to become a police officer before I went to prison for selling drugs. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with any of the. I come from a middle class, upper class type family. I've always lived in a house. I've never lived in the ghetto or the projects. My mother never went to work. Like my mom stayed home every day with us. It didn't have anything to do with that per se. It had to do with the amount of money that you could make and see for your future. The whole thing about building a future for your family, you guys keep talking about Nancy Pelosi is running and stuff again. I don't pocket watch people. Like, who cares what she's doing? Because if you have a job, it is your duty to provide for your family if you are the breadwinner. Now it seems like she the breadwinner. So that's what you want to do, is make as much money as you can. Not saying I don't care about you, but I care more about my family and its future than what you think and your pockets. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny that people get mad at these people for trying to stay in a job, which is politics. It's a job. You get mad at these people for trying to stay in these jobs. All they doing is trying to make as much money as they can, because for men, basically that's the goal of life, is to be able to provide. And unless I'm wrong, I don't know, Donovan, is that one of our goals as a man, is to provide?
That is the basic tenets of a man, is as to be a provider.
So we should care that Nancy Pelosi wants to stay in office, because she makes decisions that affect everybody else, whether it's negatively or it's positively. So we should care. And you're right. Your choices are your choices. You made the choices to do what you wanted to do, regarding regardless of what background you came from. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't have had that as an opportunity if it was not for the federal government giving you that so-called opportunity to sell poison to your people. So we never gonna let them off of the hook. We just not, because as I say a lot, there's a lot of things that we've done to ourselves, but we also got to add in the other side of the conversation. We didn't do this to ourselves by ourselves. This was done to us, and unfortunately, we have been so conditioned to continue on with that. Why do you think the Democrats don't want to get rid of welfare? They won't. As far as they're concerned, they'll never get rid of welfare, because we are disproportionately on it the most, because we make up the least of the population. But they know, as long as they continue to give us that carrot on the string, we'll continue to say, "Oh, they're for the people. Look at, they helping people. They got all these programs." But we also know that those programs are keeping us docile and not wanting to fish for ourselves, right? They're giving us the fish. We're not learning how to fish. So again, those things are kind of done to us. We would be wise, though, to make a different decision in regards to voting. But I know I used to be a Democrat. I don't lie to y'all and say I was never a Democrat. I was. But then one day I got enlightened, and I was like, hey, you know what? This ain't the party I should be voting for. This party has harmed our people. They lie to our people, and they use our people. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm going to read Brother Samuel's comment. It says, white gang terrorism is just protected. How can the government take money from your check before you even given anything, and don't even ask you? The White House plot and rob the poor countries that are not really poor, to ruin them of their raw material. The gangsterism is not demonized. Lastly, it's being done by a people who were not robbed in their name, language, and culture, and taught to hate themselves and look for the worst in each other instead of seeking the best. You're absolutely right. Those people that are doing that to us, they weren't taught that about themselves, but we were taught that. Like I said, we've been conditioned into that, and we just need to realize that we're conditioned and figure out a way to uncondition ourselves, to the things that they have programmed us to be. That's all I'm saying. So, and right, easy. We're not majority on welfare, but I'm saying it disproportionately due to the number differences. It doesn't make any sense. Of course, it's more white people because they are more in population. But if you're talking about disproportionate, only because they say we're 13-14% of the population, there's quite a few of us on there, but we're not the most. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, well, let me break it down a little bit better. If there's 10,000 Black people, right? Let's say out of the 10,000, 7,000 of us in that group of Black people is on welfare. That's what we're saying. Within our group, there's a high majority of us that are on some form of assistance within our group. Yeah. And it's basically an accounting trick, basically.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys get out of here because I got some work to do myself. But I'm gonna read these last couple comments. Facts Not Feelings says Black America, not the person in the chat, but the right. We have to make the difference. It says, but the group is doomed if we think personal responsibility is going to save our assets. Even other civilizations rely on the government to pool resources and build. Yes, I was watching this show on Netflix called Live to Be 100, the Blue Zones, talking about people who live a very long time, the centenarians that live to be 100 or over. They talked about Singapore and how they go about taking care of their people, whether it's housing, is that like they do everything they can to make sure their people live a less stressful life. So you're right, Facts Not Feelings. They do a lot of, I guess maybe you can call it socialism in a lot of countries to where they actually do help their people, not like over here, right? And so King of Sorrows, you say a lot of properties in the hood are rentals, so there isn't enough upkeep in the appreciation of the house. Doesn't matter; they'll only be there so long. Good point. And Brina, how you doing? You say private prisons are owned by the same people who run the music industry. Rappers have admitted they were encouraged to rap violence. Yep, that is true. Thank you, Easy. I appreciate that. And Fishing Rick, good night to you as well. So we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. See y'all tomorrow, Wednesday, Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. I'm sure to be even
Peace
more.
out.
Yes, bye. Thank you so much, Black America. More of a riot tomorrow. So I'm just kind of reading you guys' comments. So until the meantime, thank y'all so much for everything that you guys do. Please have a great rest of your evening and get some rest. And Donovan, thank you so much for being here twice today. You got anything else to say before we leave?
Yes, you guys, a real quick reminder, do not forget to check out the African Diaspora News channel and check out Brother Philip Scott on the African Diaspora channel, as well as his different channels that he has in different aspects. If you guys want to hear some great news. And again, you can also see Demetra K on the African Diaspora News channel. But if you want to see her and get updates and live when she go live, get notifications, become a member, like, share, and subscribe. Without you guys, we couldn't do this show. There would be no point in doing the show. You guys are the third co-host, and we love having these conversations. See you Wednesday, but if not, do not forget to tune in on Sunday, 3 p.m., 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll see you guys then.
Peace. Love you.